Let's kick our show off for the first hour with Middays with Mark. Congressman Mark Pocan, co-chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, representing the state of Wisconsin in the U.S. House of Representatives. His website, pocan.house.gov. You can tweet him at Rep. Mark Pocan, R-E-P-M-A-R-K-P-O-C-A-N. Congressman, welcome back.
Hey, Tom, thank you. Glad to be here.
Great to have you with us, and I'm guessing that there is a lot on your plate. You've got the shutdown the government day coming up in a couple of weeks. We've got the DREAM Act, CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff that the Republicans have just, I don't know, left laying on the ground or abdicated. Yeah. How would you characterize what's going on, and what do you see coming?
Well, three things I think that if I can just bring up. One is exactly what you said. January 19th is up to another government shutdown. Already we're seeing Republicans say they may need another small extension to President's Day in order to get things done. I mean, this is just beyond surreal that, they can't do the 101 of their job. They can get tax cuts for the top 1% in corporations, but they can't actually run government because of the Tea Party and all the other factions they have and the inept leadership in both the White House and Congress. So, there's CHIP funding, there's the Perkins loans reauthorization, there's flood insurance, there's a whole bunch of things that are all waiting to get done, and all they really did last year was give tax breaks to their donors. So that's one huge thing that I know we can have a lot more to talk about. Just two other things. The tweets of the last couple days, the president's gone after Pakistan, Iran, North Korea, and last night, comparing the size of buttons of leaders. This is so scary that, this is how this president communicates, and that, our status in the world continues to diminish when he does this. And at what point do responsible leaders in the Republican Party stand up? They've got their tax bill, now stand up and do the right thing. And finally, I think the news of the day, which is, or one of the news of the day, is this Bannon book that's coming out, where he's been very, very critical of the president, specifically his family, and talking about Russia and collusion and Donald Jr. And I think, again, everything keeps pointing to why this Mueller investigation is so important. But to see Steve Bannon say it in print coming from their side is really, I think, significant.
Yeah, I agree. Are you on the Congressional Antitrust Caucus?
Yes, one of the founders, yep.
Cool. I got an email this morning about this. This is from Credo Action. Tell Congress, expose destructive corporate mergers. They say Amazon merged with Whole Foods, CVS bought its competitor Rite Aid, Dow and Chemical became one behemoth. Keith Ellison has a new bill on this. What's the story?
We're with him. Yep. Yeah. So this is one where, as you know, Tom, you're a small business person. So am I. This is my 30th year in business. When you look at the consolidation, this hurts everyone in the country and every small business in the country. But we have within industries 4 or 5 major players. And then what we found from the Roosevelt Institute and other groups that we've been working with in Washington, that sometimes even in that 4 or 5 consolidated major industries within an industry, or major companies within an industry, the people on the boards, they may be on 2 or 3 of the same company's boards. So there's a reason why none of the money that they're going to get from this tax break, or none of the money they've been making since 2008 has gone back into the business or their employees. It goes to the shareholders. It goes to a very few people on the top that are making the decisions. And, antitrust is just terrible for every single consumer and small business in this country. And I was really glad to see Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi make this a part of their better deal plan. So I think that, this is coming from deep into the Democratic Party. We understand that we need to have some serious changes when it comes to antitrust law. And
that's a pretty deep rejection of neoliberalism. I mean, I was in India back 15 years ago or so, and I was there for the Salem organization. We were doing international relief work. We had taken over a leper colony in a community for blind children. But I talked to several business people while I was there. And in India at that time, now this law was just repealed in the last couple of years. In India, there was a law that said it was against the law for any family or corporation to own more than 2 retail stores anywhere in the country.
Wow.
And as a result of that, Walmart had not been able to get into India. When the law changed, Walmart opened their first store. Might have been as much as 4 or 5 years ago. I was talking to this businessman in Bombay, in Mumbai it was called, and I said, you know, this is terribly inefficient, you know, having all these little small retail stores. And he said, yes, efficiency is not always a good thing. Efficiency sometimes simply leads to essentially kingdoms in the business world. And we would rather have a little less efficient system that distributes the wealth among tens of thousands of small family-owned businesses rather than a half a dozen giant corporations that own our retail sector like you have in the United States. Now, as I said, that, you know, that businessman's sentiment has, you know, been subsumed by neoliberalism in India, and it's an extreme example, but it's an example, is it not?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, the best example was when, I won't say the airline, but a major airline dragged a passenger on video off because they oversold seats and didn't want to compensate their customers. They can do that when there's only a few major airlines. So
Right.
when you have that kind of consolidation, you don't get customer service. You get whatever they decide to give you because you have nowhere else to go. And ultimately, they're making huge profits for the shareholders and for a few of the executives, but really not sharing it with the employees and not investing it in their business. And that's what we see. And I think, you know, again, the fact that it's part of the Democrats in Congress better deal proposal, you know, Tom, I thought I was going to have to fight harder to get that there. And the fact that it's so evident that it needs to happen, I think we've got some, when we have the Democrats in charge, this is an area we can definitely make progress.
Yeah, and by the way, this used to be a Republican position. Teddy Roosevelt and Taft, President Taft, were the original trust busters. I mean, and they were Republicans. It's amazing.
And fighting Bob LaFollette from Wisconsin, I might mention.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I don't know if you saw the article I published on Alternet over the last 3 days, but
I did not.
Okay, I was laying out the thesis that if you go back to David Ricardo, the famous early 19th century economist, he published a piece called On Labor in 1819, as I recall, and one of the points that he made, and that I made in the article, is that the labor market, a labor marketplace, the marketplace for labor, is always an after-tax marketplace. And so, you know, employers and employees basically work out how much the employees are going to be paid or how much they're willing to work for based on after-tax dollars, not before-tax dollars. And which is why in Denmark, McDonald's pays $45,000 a year to starting employees because they're paying a 40% tax on that. And so my point was that whenever we have tax cuts in the United States on working people, whether it was Reagan, Bush, or these ones, it always results in lower wages because employers know that people now have more money in their paychecks, so the employers don't need to pay them as much. On the other hand, when taxes go up, as they did in Denmark, or as they did in the United States between 1930 and 1980, when taxes go up on working people, wages go up also because, again, the labor market is an after-tax market. And so the effect of the tax cut, if it actually is going to help, or is it actually going to lower the taxes of lots of working class people, is going to be that over time we're going to see their wages either remain stagnant or even drop. And I was curious your thoughts on that.
No, I completely agree with you. In fact, the other thing that we have to look at, too, is because of the tax bill, it's been estimated by the National Association of Realtors that people could lose 10% in the value of their homes, especially on the East and West Coast. So, you know, you may be getting, you know, $600, you know, in your taxes if you're at a certain level in the middle class. But by the time your home goes down in value and all the other fees come in and they go after Social Security and Medicaid, you've definitely lost out.
Right, and plus if you have more disposable income as a result of a tax cut, your Social Security contributions haven't gone up, so your retirement is going to be even more impoverished. Congressman Mark Pocan with us, taking your calls right after this.